Well, good morning everyone. I hope you're all well. Getting out and catching loads and loads of whiting. On a serious note, I'm back out this morning to do another guide. Okay, so what I'm actually doing now is picking off the last few venues I've got on my list in Norfolk. And so today brings me out back onto the North Norfolk coast. And we're heading for the beach at Salthouse. Now, for those who don't know, Salthouse is sandwiched in between Kelling and Clyde. So we're looking at a very similar setup. I just thought I'd show you the access and where to park, etc. first of all, like I normally do. The fishing's going to be very similar to Clyde and Kelling, so yeah, but just a few minutes away now. I'm working my way along the coast road. I've just passed Kelling and Salthouse is there in the distance. So just after Kelling you come into the village of Salthouse, and then more or less as soon as you go past these signs you've got to turn in on your right, and I think it's signposted here to the beach. But this is the track. Although it says no turning ahead, there is room up the end there to turn round. So we're on a little bit of tarmac here. When we get to the end, narrows up a bit, but you have got parking on both sides. Now, this time of the year, we're now early December, just a week into December, and it's quite cold today, so there's not going to be a lot of people down here. You do get quite a few bird watchers come down here, because there's sort of hides and things, and marshland, both sides of the road here, so that attracts a lot of bird watchers. But also in the summer, if you come down here in the summer, when the mackerel are in, for instance, the other problem you do find here is you get a lot of motorhomes pitching up, pulling up for the weekends. If you come down Friday or Saturday, you could well be in competition with all these motorhomes for somewhere to get parked. But no problems today. I'm just going to turn it round like I normally do, and then I'll be unloading, get some gear on, getting over onto the beach. So I'm just going to put it over off the road as best I can. So there is plenty of room. Just got to be a bit sensible with your parking as well. There. Just get out and get some gear on. Okay, so once you've come down the access road there, you pull up and park. Obviously there's a few cars here today, but they are all bird watchers, I believe. They're all gone over the top there with their binoculars and tripods and stuff. So there's obviously some sort of rare bird turned up here today. Word goes out and they all come down. But anyway, you get parked on the right here, and then it's just a question of going over the top of the shingle, and then you can head right towards Kelling or left towards Clyde. Today I think I'm going to head right and probably head to fish just in front of those little cliffs over there. Okay, so once you come over the top from the car park, you come over the top of this massive great ridge of shingle, and then as you can see right up in the far distance at the end there is all the way along this ridge. That next bump you can see sticking up on the horizon there is Kelling, and then the far distance at the base of those cliffs is Weybourne. So that's where we are today. My little companion for the day is already tucked up on her blanket in the sun, out of the wind. I've only put the shelter up today to keep her out of the wind and to keep me out of the wind. Sea's looking okay, not too bad. I'm assuming today's going to be virtually the normal for this time of year. There's going to be some whiting about, I would have thought. Maybe the chance of a flatty. Well, I'm going to set up a couple of rods today. I'm going to set up a scratching rod with a 2-hook flapper, and probably set up a rod with a slightly bigger rig on and a bigger bait, and leave that out a bit longer if I can. Got another angler setting up there. I've just had a chat with him. He's been watching the videos, so I'm glad to see that they're getting out and about now and people are watching them, so I should continue doing them. As I said, I'm now picking off the last few venues in Norfolk, and the plan is then to move on to Suffolk and then maybe even finish up in Essex, which is where I'm originally from. Okay, so I've rigged the first rod up. I've brought my 3-piece Conti rods today, fixed spool reels. That one I'm going to try with a braid today, and that one I've rigged up with a fairly basic 2-hook flapper, size 1/0 hooks and 30-pound snoods. The second rig with a slightly bigger bait, I've rigged up a pulley panel, and that's got a 4/0 hook on it on about an 18-inch hook link, and that, as I say, is on a pulley rig. Baits today, I've got some squids that's defrosting there, bearing in mind it's still like only 3 degrees here this morning, but sun's now out, so that won't take long. I've got some mackerel strips which I cut up like yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, and also some fresh herring which I cut up, which I want to try tipping baits with. Roll into that, I've got some fresh blacks there, and also I've got a wrapper frozen in case I need any more. But I'm just going to have a dabble around with these fish baits today and see if I can get the bigger stamp of white in, while the other rig I'm going to be piling the worm on there and chucking it out as far as I can. See if I can't get anything but a whiting as usual. So yeah, sun's out now, temperature's going to warm up a little bit. Don't think it's going to get much more than 6 degrees. It's just approaching 10 o'clock now, and I've got 3 hours to high tide, so that'll fish right up to probably this ledge here, and then I'll assess then whether I want to stay on for an hour or call it a day. Right, so I've just popped the first rod out, 2-hook flapper with a couple of bits of fish on, a bit of herring and on one, bit of mackerel on the other, just to test the water as such. And now I've just prepared the bait for the pulley panel, so that's a black lug and squid wrap. I've even managed to incorporate the head of the squid on there. So that's going on the 4/0, and then we'll whack that out a bit further, see if we can tempt something a bit bigger. The left hand rod with the flapper and the braid, you can see with the braid the bites are absolutely savage. It's almost as if it's like a massive great fish going to put it off the rest, but it's not. As a guess, that'll be a little whiting. I'm going to get it in and have a look. There it is, probably the first of many. Neatly lip hooked on the 1/0. See, the top hook was completely clean. I did see a couple of real sharp pull downs before I actually hit it, and I took that fish on the bottom hook, and they're the hooks I was telling you about. They're the ones I use on the mackerel feathers. They're a really heavy gauge wire, which means when you get these whiting, and some of them are a job to get off without bending the hook. With these, just turn the hook, they come straight off. And all I'm doing today is getting a strip of mackerel, just take a little bit of the meat off. So you don't need all that on there. Hooking it once through the back. Literally. Simple as that. Do the same on the top hook with the herring. From the back, out through the skin size. Perfect presentation. So you can see the big bait rod now. The pulley rig's having a little tap now. That's been out a good 15 minutes now. And you can see the difference between the braid and the mono, how easily the tide affects the braid. No stretching it whatsoever. But when you get a bite on the braid, it's absolutely massive. On the herring next time, by way of a change. I'm going to get a bucket ready so I don't have to make so many trips, I think. And that is a very good tip actually. If you are pleasure fishing and you've got a big distance to the edge of the water, bucket of water there, you can put 3 or 4 in there before you have to make the trip down to empty the bucket. So save on your legs. It's only been out a few minutes. It's banging around like a good one. That's the 2-hook flapper going mad again. I'll just put a slightly lighter lead on it because with the braid I don't think you need to have such a heavy lead. That's settled and bit into the bottom okay, and now it's just been dislodged by a fish, so I might have to go in between. I might try 5 ounces, see if I can hold it in one place a little bit longer. It won't make no difference though. There's a fair old head of whiting out there, I would have thought today. Right, I just had the pulley rig back in. I'd been out for like 20 minutes and there was literally nothing left of the bait. So I've upped the ante. I've left the squid out this time, and what I've done is put on 3 blacks there, bound them up into a nice sausage and got them on the hook, and that's now going to go out next. The other rod's still every cast at least 1, maybe 2 whiting, so that's sitting there at the moment. I've just took 2 whiting off the bucket and I'm just going to get the long rod back out again. It's actually warming up now. The sun's come round and it's quite pleasant, especially in the shelter. If you go out the front of the shelter in the wind, quite bitter. Another chap down there, I think he's getting the same because I see him go down with a bucket just now. Okay, I've just whacked that big black lug sausage as far out as I can on the right hand rod. And with the mono, I think it seems to hold there better in the tide. The braid is probably a little bit too rough for the braid, and I'm probably going to have to switch that rod over back to mono at some point. Because if you get a couple of big hits on the waves on the line, on the braid should I say, it can dislodge the lead and break it out. So bite detection's fantastic. In this sort of just about too rough weather, it's breaking out every now and again. It is fishing okay. So far just whiting, but what else can we expect to catch here? Well, it's very similar to both Weybourne and Kellin and even Cly as well. You're going to get, in the warmer months, plenty of bass along here. Mackerel fishing. Sometimes you can't move on these beaches when the mackerel are in. Once the mackerel are in, the bass come chasing in after them as well. Other species, you're going to get dogfish. Normally loads and loads of dabs and the odd flounder as well. Possibilities of a flounder today, I would say. Not been many dogfish caught lately, and we've, as I say, we've just gone through a very cold week really. From the mild rainy weather we went straight into a really cold
scrape the ice off the windscreen job. Even this morning it was only 0 when I went out, a bit of ice on there, not too bad. This time of year, in common with most of the beaches really, once those whiting move in those massive great shoals, it's very hard for anything else to get a look in. But it's good sport, keeps you warm running up and down the slope. You can come here on a cheap day as well in the winter. You could just bring a couple of mackerel, cut them up, catch fish all day. So tide's on the make now. I reckon I've got about just over 2 hours for high tide. Hoping I'm not going to have to move today. I think it's going to come to that lip on the shingle there, just in front of where I've set up. No comment. Let's have a change of that pulley. A little bit better on the long range pulley. It's plump, but it's short. A bit like me. I'll just give him a little bit of a refresher in the bucket. I think he can go back. I've still got a few whiting in the fridge from the other night, so I don't need any more. Pretty looking fish, to be fair. Half a dozen in there now, so next job is to go down and empty them out and change the water. Well, that whiting had pretty much spun that trace into oblivion. When I took the whiting off the hook, the hook link, instead of being 18 inches long, was about 4 with a massive great kink in it. So I've now tied up or baited up a new one. This one's got pennel, hook at both ends, 3 large black lug going on there. Okay, just about 20 minutes now from high tide, and still relentless with the whiting. I've even cut down to 1 hook on each rod for a little while, but no, they're a decent stamp, to be fair, today. Can't grumble at that. They're all been in size. Only a couple of early ones were small. And I've also just had a lovely chat with a couple of subscribers who come down and introduce themselves and had a right old nice chat. So yeah, if you ever do come down, see me on the beach, please come over, say hello. Always good for a chat. So, this one's trying to eat me out of everything. She had all her biscuits. She's now got her eye on my fresh herring. No, you can't have that. But she's been like an angel. She's been in the back of the shelter, in the sun, sound asleep. And now she smelt my herring and she's decided to come say hello. Another whiting. But today they've been a really good stand. I'll be putting him back, that one. And as you can see, that weeds just getting a little bit around the rig and around the leader knot now. It's nothing too drastic, it just needs pinging off. We're just over the top of the tide now, and I'm probably going to be baiting up for the last time. So it's been a very enjoyable little session this morning. After a very cold and frosty start at home, it's turned into a cracking day. I'm still getting bites as we speak on the braid rod that's going absolutely berserk. I've just put the worm rig on the panel out as far as I can. I forgot, I just switched them over in the rest and saw the right hand rod almost come off the rest, which would have been the panel, and I thought that was it, but no, I've changed it over. That's the other rod. Anyway, just thought I'd show you my little table setup. I've had a few comments about that, people laughing at my camping table. But I'll tell you what, that's a game changer. You can get everything on there, all to hand, drinks, bait, all your tools, everything. And the bonus today is it means the dog can't get at it. So my dog's not as big as Gus. Obviously that's perfect eating height for Gus, but my little one can't really get her head up there. So yeah. I've now prepared the last two baits, and what I'll do then is cut down to one rod and have a slow pack down. Then we'll run through a few bits and pieces just to recap everything, and then make our way back to the car. With the seagulls, a bit of old cut up squid. this will probably be my last outing this side of Christmas. So if I don't manage to get out, I hope everyone has a absolutely wonderful Christmas. Get loads of nice fishing goodies for presents, and then enjoy the time off over the Christmas period, and maybe even get out on the beach yourself. I know I'm hoping to, at least once. Right, as you can see, I'm down to one rod now. Most of my other bits have been put away and ready. Not a bad day, to be fair. And just a quick recap and summary of the day. Obviously you saw where the parking was as you come off the main road there, that little single track. Parking at either side of the road when you get to the end. Just be careful parking right near the very end, because there's a removable barrier there, which I think they can sometimes need to get access to launch the inshore lifeboat or something like that, I've been told. But anyway, plenty of parking all the way along there. No facilities here, unfortunately, and your nearest sort of place, nearest village shop is back in Salthouse, and then after that Weybourne, where you've probably got a pub and toilets and stuff. There's no actual facilities here. Times of the year, this time of year, as you can see, it's thick with whiting, but if they do drift off, you do get the chance of some flatfish. You get dabs here in numbers normally. They might be a lot of undersized ones, but there is one or two better ones. The odd flounder, dogfish as well are present. Bass, definitely. If you come earlier on in the year, any time between May and the end of August, got a good chance of bass. They even spin and lure fish for bass here when the water goes clear. Mackerel, good place to come for mackerel, so you can sort of pack a spinning rod and come down and do a bit of mackerel or bass fishing. Yeah, but once it comes to this time of year, it's nearly so thick with whiting, nothing else gets a look in. So hope you've enjoyed today. I'm now going to do a slow pack down and get the dog back to the car. Ready to go home? Had enough? Alright then, we'll get packed up. Well, that's it. All the gear's now back in the car. Dog's in the front. It's about 10 minutes, I suppose, from where I fished. Across that shingle. It's not too bad at all. As I say, that beach stretches as far down left and then eventually you reach Cly. But that is a hell of a walk.